Everybody's cell phones on mute. Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin tonight's City of Gardena regular City Council meeting for December 18th, 2018. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Madam Mayor, all council members are present.
So just for informational purposes, the closed session tonight will be held after we have our announcements. So next we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. So first off, our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Casey Martin and Priya Pearson. Immediately following that will be led in invocation by the Reverend Scott R. Fairchild. So please stand at this time.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's always dangerous to push buttons when you're technically challenged. Let me just say, I'm going to explain my prayer for a minute, okay? I came here in 1991. When I came here in 1991, I noticed something really, really amazing and unique about Gardena. I want you guys to everybody look around. Just everybody look around. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain my prayer, and then I'm going to pray it. In the book of Revelation, it says this amazing thing. It says that, in fact, it's in our lobby in our church. It says, from every tribe and language and people and nation, they were all around the throne room, and they were in praise to God. I want you to know, Gardena is such an amazing place. We look like heaven. And I really, truly mean that. It's like when there's a description of heaven, and it says about all these amazing things that are in there, jewels and all that, but the crowning jewel, I believe, for God is you and I. And the fact that we're from every tribe and language and people and nation. There's not a lot of cities that can claim what you and I can claim. Am I right? Don't shout me down here. I'm going to start. All right? And so I'm going to pray that prayer. And we are in a precious, beautiful city that really truly is the garden spot of the South Bay. And we have before us servants that are willing to serve. And we're so grateful for you and for what you do, because it is a unique city. And it's a challenging city at some times because we're all a little bit different. Am I right on that one too? Yeah, we're a little bit. Thank you. Lord, when we come before you today, God, we're reminded again of what your word says, that in the back of the book, the description you have of your heaven looks a little bit like us, from every tribe and language and people and nation. And Lord, we thank you for that. You could have called us anywhere, and you called us for this place amongst these people, that we can laugh and love and serve together in this beautiful city that we call home, that we call Gardena. And Lord, standing before us are public servants. They have stepped forward to not only serve, but to love and to make decisions based on what they believe is best for our city. Thank you for these people who have been willing to serve. And so tonight, Lord, we bless them. We pray, God, for your guidance upon them. We pray, Lord, in the times when decisions weigh heavy upon them, and they want to do what's best for the people of our city. Lord, guide them. Lord, may their conversations be tough at times so they can get the answer that they need as they continue to move us forward. So God, we thank you for them, every single one of them. We thank you, Lord, for our public servants, for the police department that serves us so faithfully. God, we thank you for them. We thank you, Lord, for the city workers that sometimes we overlook. But God, we're so grateful for them because they keep our city looking good. So we thank you for them. We thank you for the people, Lord, that serve here in City Hall and serve in support situations, Lord. Thank you for each one of them because they're doing sometimes a thankless job. But, Lord, it's not thankless to you. You see them. And so, Lord, we ask you to bless them. And, Lord, most of all, just thank you for today because, Lord, every day is a gift. And so we thank you, God, for what you have blessed us with. And we pray it in your almighty name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. If I could have our two pledgers to come back to the front, Casey and Priya. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by two students from Dinker Avenue Elementary School, Candace Martin, who is 7 years old, and Priya Pearson, who is also 7. Both are participants in the after-school program at the Nakaoka Community Center, which is sponsored by the City of Gardena Recreations Division. As I mentioned, they're both students at Dinker Avenue Elementary, and both of them are in the 2nd grade. So we're going to start with Casey. Casey, can you tell us who brought you to tonight's meeting?
My mom.
Your mom? Where's your mom at? Hold her hand up. Everyone give her a round of applause for bringing her out tonight. Casey, would you like to say anything else?
Thank you for letting me do the pledge.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. You did a great job. And next we have Priya Pearson. Can you tell us who brought you to tonight's meeting?
My mom.
Your mom, where's your mom at? Right there? Okay, please give her a round of applause as well. And is there anything you would like to say?
Thank you for letting me play the pledge.
Oh, again, you're welcome to. Both of you guys did a great job. Go ahead and give a round of applause. And we look forward to you guys coming back in the future to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance again. So thank you. If I could have a Pastor, go ahead, give a round of applause again. Pastor Fairchild, if you could please come back to the front. So tonight's invocation was led by the Reverend Scott R. Fairchild, Marketplace Pastor of Crossroads South Bay, which is located at 2818 Manhattan Beach Boulevard. Reverend Scott Fairchild considers himself as a community pastor who serves Gardena and the South Bay area. He's been active here since arriving at Crossroads over 27 years ago. He served Crossroads as the youth pastor, working with several other youth pastors in the area to organize and host various youth events. 18 years ago, he was elevated to the position of lead pastor, known as Marketplace Pastor, where he's continued to serve with a number of church team leaders, and to work with a variety of organizations in the area. He has hosted local neighborhood watch and police district meetings at his church facility for over 9 years. He serves on the Gardena's Chief of Police Advisory Council and hosts various other city and community events. Pastor Scott also leads the South Bay Faith Council and the For Life group, which unites all of those active in improving the quality of life for all ages. His church is here to serve and help improve our great city. Pastor Scott also coached both AYSO soccer and the school basketball team. He and his wife, Tracy, have been married for 29 years, and they have 4 children. Pastor Fairchild, would you like to say anything?
No, I pretty much said it. I'm just grateful for the city, and I'm grateful for you, all of you. I really, truly am. This is a tough situation, a tough job so many times, and so I am. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the work that you do. I'm grateful for this city. We got a great city. So thank you.
Well, thank you again for your prayer. That was wonderful. So next we have a presentation. Why don't you go ahead and stand in front of the microphone? So Tonight, we have our customary military veteran that we recognize at all of our city council meetings. And tonight, I thought it would be befitting as my choice of veteran to nominate Councilmember Daniel Dan Medina. And as I read the bio, you'll understand why in just a moment here. So Dan Medina was born in Los Angeles and lived in Hawaii from the age of 8 to 14 years of age. He's a longtime resident of Gardena and has served as a City of Gardena council member since November of 2008. In addition to his multiple assignments to boards, committees, as a member of the City Council, Medina has served as president and held other leadership positions with the following. And this may not include every group, but Gardena Valley Lions Club, Carson Gardena Dominguez Rotary Club, Gardena Carson Family YMCA, Gardena Cinco de Mayo Festival Committee, Kiwanis Club of Gardena Valley Democratic Club, and the Mexican American Democratic Club, which is based in Gardena. Medina is also a studio musician, the leader of the K-Earth 101 Retro Boomers Band, and a popular DJ at numerous South Bay Area functions. His military service includes Medina served with the U.S. Army in Vietnam from May 24, 1966 to May 10, 1968 with the 101st Infantry Regiment and the 82nd Airborne Division, an infantry division specializing in parachute assault operations into denied areas within the U.S. Department of Defense requirement to respond to crisis contingencies anywhere in the world within 18 hours. It was and still is the U.S. Army's most strategic mobile division. During that later portion of his service in Vietnam, Medina fought in the Ashu Valley, Asha Valley, thank you, First Tet Offensive, one of the largest military campaigns of the Vietnam War, which was launched in January 1968 by forces of the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese Army against the forces of South Vietnam, the United States, and their allies. Timed to coincide with the first day of the Tet Vietnamese New Year, it was a surprise attack on the South Vietnam cities, notably Saigon. The Asha Valley was the scene of much fighting throughout the war, and it acquired a fearsome reputation for soldiers on both sides. Being a veteran of the Asha Valley operations became a mark of distinction amongst combat veterans. Medina's military occupation specialty was a medical corpsman, and Medina's rank at the time of his honorable discharge was Specialist 5. Medina's military training included basic, code of conduct, military justice, basic airborne, medical school, MTC. For his military service, he was awarded the following: the National Defense Service Medal, the Combat Medical Badge, and the Parachute Badge. Also of note, back in 2014, it was Councilmember Medina who originally proposed that the Gardena military veterans be recognized for their service to our country. It wasn't until June 2017 that the City Council approved and moved forward with this proposal and privileged to recognize a veteran on an ongoing basis at each regularly scheduled City Council meeting. So for that, we thought it would be befitting to honor Councilmember Dan Medina today because he was the one who originated this, and this is our first year that we've been doing this now, so what better way than to end the year by recognizing him.
As the mayor is walking down with council members' medal, which is really pretty awesome. Also note that his photo with the council members will be on the marquee at Redondo and Western, and he will receive a CD for tonight's event.
Honorable Mayor and the rest of the City Council, I'm actually lost for words, and that's pretty rare. For those of you who know me, I'm never lost for words. But all I can say is thank you, and God bless all the veterans.
Thank you. Okay, so our next presentation that we're going to be doing is a certificate of appreciation in recognition of the above and beyond support of the 2018 City of Gardena Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival. So if I can have the owners of the Burnt Tortilla, Giuliano's Original Delicatessen and Bakery, Lomelli's Italian Restaurant, and Tequiva Sparkling Tequila, please come forward. And I'd just like to make one quick note before they leave. Pastor John from New Challenge Ministries, thank you for being here with us tonight. I just want to just take a moment to recognize you because he feeds so many thousands of people throughout the year, those who can't afford food. So thank you for being with us here tonight. Okay, I'm sorry. If we get the owners to come forward here, we have a special certificate for each one of them. I'm only going to read it one time, but there's one for all three owners who are present today. And I'm going to read what it says on here. This is a certificate of appreciation being presented to each restaurant, Lomelli's, Giuliano's, Burnt Tortilla, Tequiva Sparkling Tequila. And it says, under the dedicated leadership of each owner here, in appreciation of exemplary commitment and above and beyond support on our September 22nd, 2018 City of Gardena Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival, an annual fundraiser to support the Gardena Senior Citizens Daycare Center and Alzheimer's Clinic. So we, the mayor and the members of the City Council of the City of Gardena, California, hereby deem it an honor and a privilege to acknowledge and to extend words of sincere gratitude for helping to bring a better quality of life to Gardena's senior citizens and to offer best wishes and much success for many more years to come. And it's being presented on today, December the 18th, 2018. It's been signed by myself and the entire City Council. We just want to tell you, we're so grateful and just thankful for all that you guys did at our Food Wine, and Cigar Festival, and all that you guys do throughout the year to help all of our different organizations. So again, thank you. And next, if I can get the members of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Committee to please come forward. Cultural Committee, my apologies here. So as they're coming forward, I'm going to read this proclamation here. It's a little long here, so please bear with me. This is for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Cultural Committee's recognition, which will be January the 11th through January 21st. And it reads as follows. Whereas in November 1972, the City Council of the City of Gardena granted a request to two well-known Gardena citizens to establish a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative committee. And whereas the enthusiastic support and commitment of its numerous members of that committee, now known as the Dr. Martin Luther King Cultural Committee of Gardena, has for the past 45 years presented annual commemorative activities dedicated to the memory of Dr. King, a leader in the cause of social justice and civil rights for all who struggle for a better relationship between people and for a better understanding of all cultures. And the committee will present their 46th annual commemorative events in 2019 through an evening youth program at the Naka-Oka Community Center on Friday, January the 11th, 2019, and the 35th annual commemorative parade on Saturday, January the 12th, 2019. Whereas the community of Gardena, California is known for its multi-ethnic, multi-religion population representing a great cultural diversity, and whereas the multi-ethnicity and Community Service Awards of Gardena citizens encourage involvement in the promotion of programs and activities to observe Dr. King's birthday, thus pioneering such programs many years prior to the Dr. King's birthday on January 15th, being recognized and celebrated as a federal holiday. And whereas the local community, individuals, schools, and businesses are now even more involved in their contributions to help provide for these commemorative activities which allow Gardena citizens an opportunity to rededicate themselves to the principles that Dr. King inspired to our society in his lifetime, peace among humanity. So now, therefore, we declare proclaim January the 11th through January 21st, 2019 to be a special time of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday commemoration. And in the city of Gardena, we urge all citizens to be aware of these activities and to reflect upon the over 46 years of hard work and unselfish dedication of the members of the committee, and further to join and support all the planned commemorative activities. So I believe the spokesperson tonight is Ms. Paulette Francis. Would you like to say anything?
Push the button.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Serta and City Council members. I'm joined by some of my committee members, Artie Bailey, Roberta Lynch, Eddie Lee Matthews, Shirley McCarthy, Velma Thompson, and Freddie Williams, and Jessica Randall. Did I forget anybody? Shirley McCarthy? I ask because I always forget somebody. All right. But anyway, on behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Culture Committee, we accept this proclamation designating January 11th through 21st, 2019 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Birthday Commemoration Week in the city of Gardena. Founded in 1972 by Arthur Johnson and Rosemary Ciccone, we have the proud distinction of being one of the first cities west of Mississippi to honor Dr. King with an official celebration. Our programs and activities include our Friday Night Youth Program, the commemorative parade. This is our 35th, as you've heard, and also the Arthur Johnson College Scholarship Program. This is an exciting year for our committee, an exciting time for especially our Friday Night Youth Program, because of the efforts of Michael Romero, our District 8 area superintendent. We received over 200 essays entries this year. Wow. And the committee, but they read each and every one of them, I want you to know, and through a very hard task, we were able to select high school first, second, and third place, middle school, and elementary first, second, and third place. We're also excited because of his leadership, we do expect to see every school in our attendance area represented at our parade this year. So please come out and support our young people. We have a lot to be excited about. This year, our Grand Marshal is Beverly White, news anchor. Also, nice. Yes. Very good. And also, we have a reality show, Dancing Dolls star, Sanjai Williams. Now, our young people know her. We may not know who she is, but but I understand she's very popular. And also our community Grand Marshals, our hometown hero, Michael Crozier, who's a good boy who grew up in Gardena, that made it well. He's a award-winning producer, and he's also a part of the Laker staff. So he's our community Grand Marshal this year. So this is going to be a very great year. So please mark your calendar for come out and join us on Friday night, January 11th, for our youth commemorative program. Our guest speaker is Reverend David Price from First African American Methodist Episcopal Church. First AME, it's easier to say FAME. And we'll have an essay when it's presented there as well. And then again, our program on Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock, marching down Van Ness Marine, down to Raleigh Park, starting at 10 a.m., January 12th. See you there. I just have so much I want to try and get to say before this red light goes off.
You're okay. Just go ahead. The timer's not on.
But again, thank you. And we're very fortunate. We're one of the few cities that enjoy a 2-day celebration of Dr. King, and it's because of you, City Council and Mayor. And thank you so much. We appreciate your support and look forward to future support as well.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next item, item number C, appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments to any commissions, committees, boards, or council at this time? Go ahead.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I have picked for our Rent Mediation Board member, the tenant representative, Ms. Tracy Solomon Clark, as my representative on the Rent Mediation Board.
Okay, so there's been a motion made to appoint Tracy Solomon Clark as a tenant rep for the Rent Mediation Board. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Congratulations, Ms. Clark. You are now a tenant representative on the Rent Mediation Board. No swearing in. Next, we're going to move on to our consent calendar. Does any member of the council have any items that they would like to discuss separately? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 7, which is Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. So this is just for informational purposes only. The November 20th, 2018 meeting was canceled. The December 4th, 2018 meeting was canceled, and this December 18th, 2018 meeting was canceled. So next, we're going to move on to oral communications. We have 2 speakers tonight. The first one is Eddie Johnson, and the second one is Ms. Cheryl Sherman. You can please come forward at this time. And I'd just like to remind all of our speakers that you are limited to 3 minutes, unless extended by myself. When the yellow light comes on, it will alert you that your 2 minutes are completed. When the red light comes on, it will alert you that your 3 minutes are over. And we would appreciate your cooperation in advance if you could just finish your statement at that point and not go any further. So, Mr. Jones, go ahead and hit that little red button right there. And I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson.
No worries.
Go ahead and start speaking now.
Well, I want to say good afternoon, Madam Chair, and to the rest of the fellow council members, and all those in attendance that are the constituents. I want to, second, make it known that all you guys are elected officials have sworn an oath to the Constitution before taking the office, and you swore to uphold that Constitution. It's not important that you guys keep the promise to just yourself, but also to the constituents that got you into the office. Coming before like a few weeks before the great revolutionary speaker and equal rights advocate Martin Luther King's birthday, I asked that his famous "I Have a Dream" speech not just be a dream, just actually be a reality. That all men and women be created equal, not just those who are in present, but those who wear the badge as well. And I want to make it known on record that I want to ask that a motion be set for next agenda that addresses Gardenia's what Gardenia is doing post the 2003 murder of an unarmed man by the Gardena Police Department. And to open up the books and show the transparencies of what they're doing in light of that actual shooting. Furthermore, I would like to have full disclosure of all officers who have used force, whether excessive or force, to detain or arrest subjects in the course of actions that were taken on behalf of those officers. Last, I would like to list of all the sworn officers and officials who have sworn to protect and uphold the Constitution and the penalties of those who violate those valuable oaths, so that people like myself don't fall victims and be told that they don't have rights. So I want to know if I can motion or find out who I need to talk with to motion on your next meeting, so I can put something on the agenda for the next meeting that you guys may have.
So, sir, what you can do is you can make sure your contact information was on.
I actually emailed everyone in the council as well.
Okay, if you email them, then we'll have our city manager get back with you and let you know what the process is. This might be something that's just a directive versus something that would actually go on the agenda item. So he can explain the process to you at a time more feasible than right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
I appreciate
All right,
that.
thank you for coming
Thank you a
before
lot,
us. Next, Ms. Cheryl Sherman.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This evening,
I would like to share some items with you and the public regarding the Gardena Willows Wetland Preserve. In the 2019, some changes are good changes are going to be happening. First of all, our fourth Saturday stroll that we've been having as an afternoon stroll is changing to a morning stroll. So all the fourth Saturday strolls are going to be from 9 a.m. to noon. This way, people who are interested in birding can come out and hear the birds and see the birds better. Plus, it gives us a flexibility of having a choice whether you want to come in the morning or afternoon to our activities. The second thing is, I want to announce that UPS has given us a grant to install a water bottle filling station and drinking fountain, which we're super excited about. We have received it. We're now in the process of going through and following up with the installation procedures. And it's going to be fabulous. So this way, we are contributing to the eliminating of plastic bottles by no longer providing plastic water bottles to the volunteers. We will be asking them to bring their own water bottles. So that's a real great and upbeat thing. The last thing is I want to announce that our dearest and foundation, I want to say, supporter of the preserve, Dr. Connie Vodheim, is leaving us the end of this month. She has been with us as a charter member since the installation of the preserve, and she has been the backbone of the gardens at the preserve. She has designed them, created them, installed them, and they are what they are because of her.
Okay.
And we're deeply going to miss her. She's moving to Colorado. So we, of course, will be moving on, and we will be struggling without her, but we do have connections via internet.
Okay.
So anyhow, thank you so much. And last but not least, I want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a safe, sane, and prosperous 2019.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next moving on to our departmental items. We're going to move on to item number 8A1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item number 8A1 is the City of Gardena's audit reports for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018, comprehensive annual financial report, also known as a CAFR, also the audit for the Family Child Care Program and the Municipal Bus Lines Enterprise Fund. Presented for the City Council to receive and file are the audited financial reports for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018, as prepared by the City's contracted auditing firm, the Poon Group, LLP, an independent public accounting firm fully licensed and qualified to perform audits of the state and local governments within the state of California. The goal of the independent audit is to provide reasonable assurance that the financial statements of the city for the fiscal year are free of material misstatements. I'm very proud to announce that there were no findings in the audit of the financial statements. Here to conduct a presentation on behalf of the Poon Group, we will be having a presentation on behalf of the Poon Group. Sorry.
Thank you, Ed. Sure, no problem. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and member of the City Council again. My name is Ken Poon. I'm the engagement partner of the audit of the City of Gardena Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, the Family Child Care Report, and the Municipal Bus Line Report. So I prepared a little presentation for tonight. So as required by the auditing standard, I'm required to communicate to you about the audit responsibilities. So first off is management responsibilities. As management yourself, you are fully responsible for these financial statements. By presenting these financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principle in the United States of America, the City of Gardena is a state local government, so the Governmental Accounting Standard Board is the standard-setting bodies for the accounting treatment for the City of Gardena here. You also need to adopt sound accounting policies. Very importantly, you are required to establish and maintain proper internal control over financial reporting and compliance, also providing evidence supporting to the amounts and the disclosure in these financial statements, and last but not least is to prevent and detect fraud. Our responsibility as the auditor, we perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standard, and then also the government auditing standard. It's a much more stringent requirements that we need to follow. We are also required to communicate with those charged with governance, and we determine the City Council is what we call those charged with governance. So that's why I'm here tonight to answer any questions that you may have regarding the audit. We are also required to assess the audit risk of material misstatement on these financial statements, determine the fairness amount presentation of the financial statement and material compliance, and last but not least is to render our audit opinions. The general fund is the main operating fund of the city, so I would like to put a snapshot of, as of June 30, 2018, what do you have for your general fund. At the end of the June 30, 2008, the city ended with a total fund balance of $23.5 million, of which $386,000 are considered non-spendable form. Those are prepaid items. Restricted, which is restricted by third party. And the city do have a lot of commitment and assigned, which include about like $19.3 million and $3.6 million for different programs, and remaining the $200,000. So the committed, assigned, and assigned are all considered available fund balance for the city use for your future operations. Next slide. Audit results. We are happy to issue an unmodified opinion, which state that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respect. Significant accounting policy have been consistently applied. The estimates are reasonable, and the disclosure are properly reflected in these financial statements. We do not have any disagreement with management. As Ed mentioned, we do not have any material weaknesses or significant deficiency in internal control over financial reporting were noted, and no accounting issues. That's conclude my presentation for tonight, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that presentation. And I believe this item is just a receive and file. So I'm sorry.
Mayor, if I could just make a couple other comments.
Okay.
It is really an exceptional thing not to have any audit findings. It requires a lot of teamwork, a lot of cooperation, and working well not only with our auditors but internally to ensure that we have the best accounting practices. And I just want to take a moment and ask the finance staff in the back if they could stand up, please, and be recognized, because all of them play a really important role. I don't remember not having a finding in a long time. So it is a great job, and thank you very much. We enjoy our relationship with you.
You're welcome. And then also one more thing I would like to bring it up is the city always go above and beyond what you need to do under generally accepted accounting principle. That's why the city has always applied the GFOA, the Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting. Under that program, it's been like 32 consecutive years that the city has received this award. And I believe 2018 will do the same thing.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Wow. And thank you once again to the finance team as well, too. Job well done. Next, we're going to move on to item number 8C1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, Agenda number 8C1 is to approve an operating covenant agreement with Faraday and Futures, Inc. and affiliates. Staff recommends the Council conduct a public hearing, approve the operating covenant agreement between the City of Gardena and Faraday and Futures, Inc., and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement. In an effort to generate additional sales tax revenue, create additional jobs, and enhance economic vitality, the city proposes to provide FF, which is Faraday's Future, an economic incentive to locate its new car retail dealership in the city. FF has designed a high-performance, luxury-class electric vehicle and is prepared to start production and sell these vehicles through an internet-based sales office. The agreement requires FF to establish and maintain for approximately 20 years its sole California dealership in Gardena. The city would pay FF an amount equal to 50% of the sales tax received from the city from vehicle and accessory sales in excess of the annual sales tax base of $75,000. The city may terminate this covenant agreement if the owner has not established a sales office in Gardena and generated at least $220,000 of local sales tax to the city by December 31st, 2019. Over the 20-year term, the agreement, total subsidy to FF could possibly exceed $10 million. However, as the city makes no payment on the first $75,000 of sales tax received annually and splits the balance of the amount received, the amount of new sales tax retained by the city would necessarily exceed any amount paid to FF. Agreements involving $100,000 or more of subsidies to entice businesses to operate within a city's jurisdiction require approval after a noticed public hearing and preparation of an economic development subsidy report. Notice of the hearing was published in the Gardena Valley News on December 6, 2018, and the report has been posted on the city's website and made available to the public since that date. There is an unknown amount as a fiscal impact because we don't know if the sales will occur and how much the sales will bring towards the city of Gardena. This is a unique opportunity that really is low risk to the city of Gardena to attract a high-tech automotive manufacturer to the city. And if it works out and they begin selling vehicles after the first $75,000, we'll split the sales tax revenue moving forward. We're hopeful that FF will move forward with its concept and bring it to production, and we can have a long-lasting partnership. What is required is to conduct a public hearing, which is open the public hearing, and then also approve the covenant agreement with Faraday and Future Inc. and affiliates.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we are going to open the public hearing. And let me first start off with Madam City Clerk, are there any speakers who are requesting to speak on this item?
Madam Mayor, we do not have any speakers.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, just two quick questions. In this agreement, can we also use Faraday Future as part of our marketing plan in regards to saying we are the home of Faraday Future as far as in part of Gardena's marketing and everything?
It's not specifically called out in the agreement, but I'm sure that if they become, they start production, they start selling cars, we would be likely to use them as a marketing vehicle to talk about our partnership with them.
And the second question is because there's some of their engineering and offices are just outside our borders on Figueroa and 190th. How do we encourage them to move some of their office infrastructure as far as back office functions into the city? Are they looking for any office space?
Well, the first step is to have them open the dealership within the city, and then after that, hopefully they'll see what a business-friendly environment this is, and hopefully we can entice them to bring their other parts of their business to Gardena.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time? Is the applicant here? Would they like to say anything?
They are not present.
Okay. So if there are no more comments or questions, we're going to go ahead and close the hearing. And at this time, if I can get a motion to approve the operating convent agreement.
So moved.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Next, moving on to item number 8C2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8C2 is resolution number 6355, amending the list of authorized games and authorizing the play of certain games in licensed card clubs. This is a fairly routine council item that comes to the City Council when the change of listed games is made. On November 19th and November 29th, 2018, the Hustler Casino received written approval from the State of California Department of Justice Bureau of Gaming Control to begin offering games of Bad AC and Super Raz Daisy for play at their tournament clubs. I wanted to make sure I didn't pronounce it wrong. The approval of the State of California is subject to adoption of a formal resolution by the City Council. There's no fiscal impact. What's required is to adopt resolution number 6355. If you say those names a different way, it's not pleasant.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6355?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next, moving on to item number 8C3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, certain members of the City Council, agenda number 8C3 is resolution number 6354, offering Scholar Share 529 as a voluntary employer benefit for higher education savings. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution authorizing the City Manager to sign the Scholar Share 529 agreement. The voluntary benefit offers employees an opportunity to invest their earnings for future higher education expenses for the employee and their beneficiaries. TIAA-CREF, Tuition Financing, Inc., or also known as TFI, is a plan manager. TFI works with a private and public employers to provide Scholarship 529 plans as a voluntary benefit for their employees. TFI will invest funds and coordinate benefits. For the voluntary benefit, there is no cost. There is no cost for the employer to incorporate 529 into our programs. There is no additional cost to an employee for accessing 529 through their employer. This is just another opportunity for allowing us to have our employees invest their money for future investments in higher education. It goes along with our commitment to improve not only financially, mentally, but physically the well-being of our employees. What is required is to adopt resolution number 6354.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments on this item here? Councilmember Medina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With regards to the voluntary employee benefit, can they put in more than is required of them to get a higher choice of education? As an example, say it's an advanced calculus class of some sort that might cost more than a regular calculus class?
Yeah, the plan participants have full control of what they can contribute, so it's completely up to them. The city's not matching anything, so it's up to the individual employee to decide how much he wants to contribute. As long as it's a bona fide educational expense, then they are able to access those funds.
Okay, you answered my second question, which is if the city was going to contribute anything, so thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, is TIAA-CREF going to make us have any minimum employee participation, or is this voluntary? It's okay?
There's no minimum requirement, and we're doing this through a partnership with the state. Is also State of California is a partner in this program.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6354?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Cascanian and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson. And Mayor Serta.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 8C4. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8C4 is resolution number 6353, a resolution of the City Council adopting a newly revised records retention schedule. California Government Code 34090 sets forth certain legal requirements relating to the management and retention of municipal records, and the Secretary of State maintains guidelines for local government records retention as directed by the Government Code Section 12236. Resolution number 4681, adopted by the City Council in June 2002, authorizes the City Clerk to update the records retention schedule and to report such changes to the City Council. The City Clerk has presented the City Council with an updated retention schedule. In the future, we will be looking at this retention schedule on a more frequent basis and bringing it to City Council for review when changes are made. What is required is to adopt resolution number 6353.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from any member of the council? If not, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6353?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8D1.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8D1 is an award of a professional services contract to CWE Corporation in the amount of $114,490 for MS4 permit industrial commercial and facility inspection. Industrial commercial is abbreviated as IC. Pursuant to resolution number 66018, inspection charges related to services to comply with the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, will be collected to offset the professional services that are offered under this contract. On June 19, 2018, the city manager approved an agreement with CWE in the amount of $24,999 to provide an initial effort to update the NPDES permit compliance GIS tracking database. CWE is a civil engineering, water resources, and environmental engineering firm of approximately 40 employees. They are currently doing contract work for the city. CWE has been in business since 2006 and founded as a disadvantaged minority and small business enterprise, with 90% of their clients coming from public agencies and utilities, including but not limited to the cities of Torrance, Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes, Carson, Long Beach, Los Angeles, and Commerce. CWE has completed the initial effort by correcting over 160 industrial general pollution records from the State Water Resources Control Board's tracking database and by conducting 67 overdue inspections. This contract will allow CWE to undertake an additional 500 industrial commercial facility inspections to comply with the MS4 program. The inspection completion date of this is between September and October 2019. The amount of this expense is $114,490. As mentioned before, the city will recover some of those costs by the charges to the businesses. The funding source is the sewer fund, so it is not a general fund obligation, and what is required is to award the professional services contract in this agreement.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Medina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, that doesn't have a deadline date where if we don't meet it by a certain time, we'll be fined?
These inspections, some of these inspections were overdue. We have caught up, I think I mentioned 67 overdue inspections. This will keep us on track with our requirements for the MS4 permit.
But we won't get fined for the overdue inspections, or are we?
We have not received any notice that we've been fined for any of the inspections or any of our MS4 requirements.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to award the professional service contract?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8D2. Mr. City Manager?
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8D2 is award construction contract to California Fence and Supply in the amount of $77,820 and to True Line Construction and Resurfacing in the amount of $25,565 for park improvements at Raleigh Park Tennis Courts. I am very happy to finally bring this agenda item to the City Council and to have our tennis courts and the fencing around those tennis courts resurfaced and made almost new. Staff recommends that the city award the contract for the park improvements at the tennis courts to California Fence and Supply and to True Line Construction on the amounts previously discussed. The project was solicited informally without plans and specifications considering the scope of the work, which is unique work replacing an old tennis court facility. 3 bids for each contract were solicited without an advertisement per the state informal procurement method. The California Fence and Supply submitted the lowest responsible bid for fencing, and True Line Construction and Resurfacing submitted the lowest responsible bid for resurfacing. The California Fence and Supply is a state licensed fencing contractor with verified successful construction experience in this field. True Line Construction is a generally licensed contractor specializing in all game court resurfacing since 1993. The construction is anticipated to start in January 2019 for 15 working days, and for the fencing, about 10 working days for the resurfacing. The budget amount is $299,615 from the general fund and $103,385,000 in Park in Lieu or Measure A funding. What is required is to award the construction contract and finally get this project completed.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments at this time? I have one question. Generally, when like resurfacing of the tennis court area is done, how long does that usually last for? What's the general life of that?
I don't know if there's really a general life. It depends on the conditions and the environment. Obviously, areas that receive more rain and have different soils that shift more have a more frequent resurfacing schedule. These are long overdue, I'm sure, as every member of the City Council is aware. We will be moving forward with a more comprehensive maintenance program at all of our parks. This is not the only resurfacing and fence project that the City Council will see within the next year. We're already looking at others, which I'll report on later.
Okay, and do we know the last time we did the tennis courts? If we have that information. If not, it's okay.
I don't know, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time?
We were considering just trying to repair the fencing. As you notice, the fencing is more expensive, but
correct.
It was beyond the scope of repair.
Okay. Councilmember Henderson, you had a question?
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, I know we had a presentation from the county about the water capture systems and everything, and I know we got some other projects moving forward. This one probably missed it, but if we can incorporate that in some of the future projects, I just want to make sure we keep that on the radar.
Councilman Henderson, that's an excellent point. We actually did consider doing this, but we have been telling the community this is going to be being done for a long time, and that would just add a lot more time. So we are definitely looking at that as we move forward for other resurfacing programs.
Okay. No other questions or comments? If not, I would love to make the motion to award the construction contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, the motion was made by myself and seconded by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Okay. Next up is item number 8D3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8D3 is a memorandum of agreement between the South Bay City's Council of Governments, or the South Bay COG, and the City of Gardena for cost sharing in the amount of $44,000 for the implementation of a coordinated integrated monitoring program, or CIMP, for the Dominguez Channel Watershed Management Area, which the city falls under. It's recommended that City Council approve the memorandum of agreement between the South Bay COG and the City of Gardena for cost sharing for the implementation of this CIMP for the Dominguez Channel, and authorize the City Council to execute the agreement. MS4 permittees, South Bay cities are required to monitor the Dominguez Channel Watershed jurisdictional area as required by the Regional Board adopted National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System MS4 permit. The permittees voluntarily elected to collaborate on the development of a joint CIMP for the purposes of the City of Gardena to participate in this joint effort as an individual permittee holder and to utilize the program monitoring data, which really monitors sediment and fish tissue, which costs about $44,000. And this is in lieu of contracting professional services. Professional services expense to obtain the required data is expected to double that cost at a minimum. So this is a better way of regionalizing this approach. The amount is $44,000. Once again, the funding source is the sewer fund, and what is required is for the City Council to approve the memorandum of agreement with the South Bay COG.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 9, which are council items. First one here is item number 9A1, which is a report from the attendance at the 45th Annual Sister City Relationship Celebration. I'm actually going to go ahead and do this separately from my report here just because it's a little, I won't say long. I thought we'd do something a little different this year. Instead of doing a verbal report and me going on for 15 minutes about my report, we'd summarize this down to a 3-minute visual report. So if we're ready, we can go ahead and do this. right. I thought that would be a little bit more informative than just a typical verbal report. And I'd just like to thank our Director of Transportation, Mr. Ernie Crespo, for being one of the translators, along with Alejandro Alvarez. They did an amazing job translating for me. I didn't have to try to use any of my Spanish. They were just right on it the whole time. So thank you guys for helping out and making that a memorable trip. This was our 45th anniversary, and what I didn't know was that this is the first time we've ever had a mayor from Gardena go to Watabampo. They've always come here, but we've never had one go there. So it was especially nice to just be able to represent the city of Gardena for that portion there. Go ahead.
By the way, for those of you who saw the fire trucks and the buses, they were donated from the city of Gardena to the city of Watabampo. When we had those really awful-looking fire trucks, they painted them red. And then Mr. Crespo was also responsible for donating some of those buses to the city of Watabampo.
Okay, thank you. So next we're going to move on to council directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time? Oh, Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, on Artesia Boulevard, right by Normandy, westbound, the railroad track, there is a big pothole, and it's kind of enough to damage wheel or pop the tires. If we can have somebody to take a look at it. Westbound, right at the railroad, Artesia Normandy. Thank you.
Okay, any other directives or at this time? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to follow up on the Golden State Water T-cut work along 147th and between Van Ness and Crenshaw. I know they're coming back to repave that. I just wanted to get a timeline on that.
I have a meeting tomorrow scheduled with Kate Nutting.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem?
A couple of quick ones. First, is there any way that we can look into putting the name or names of officers that we've lost in the line of duty on the Medal of Valor monument in front of the station? Because there is a spot there that we might be able to put names there, because we've lost two. The second one is there a possibility of looking into naming a facility or a place within our city to memorialize Officer Hirai?
I can prepare a report for the City Council on both those items. I think the first one's a much easier endeavor. The second one, we'll have to prepare a report. We do have council policies on facility naming.
Okay, and I'd just like to second that as well. So.
Okay.
Any other directives at this time? If not, we're going to move on to the city manager remarks and directives.
Thank you, Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. At the last council meeting, there was a directive by Councilman Kaskanian regarding the enforcement of election signs. We removed a total of 88 signs throughout the city, and whenever possible, we try to contact the party, and if not, they were all discarded by December 3rd, 2018, if they were not claimed by the candidates. So that has been handled. I have a couple updates on projects that the City Council has discussed. One is the Nakaoka Center, the AV upgrade, which is a council directed by Medina. We've looked at that upgrade and now have expanded the scope of work, which will include upgrades to a touch panel, audio digital signals processor, much more advanced wireless system, a full motion projection screen with high definition laser projector, etc. So this project is expanded in scope to some degree. So we are continuing to move forward. As noted by, I think, Mayor Serta, we will try to get these projects done before we start having some major city events there coming up in the beginning of next year. So we'll be working on that very diligently. I want to announce to the City Council, today we had a number of employees recognized with a spot-on recognition that the City Council authorized. Charles Santos, which is a senior accountant at G-Trans, was awarded $250 work for exemplary work in accounting at G-Trans. Ron Grace, a bus operator, was awarded $250 for exemplary work doing his job, not only as just being a professional operator, but also some of the other extra things that he has participated in, such as a procurement committee and just his positive, outgoing efforts to be a good team player. Tan Din, who's a lead mechanic, was $250 for exemplary work in maintenance. Koi Quach in finance was awarded $500 for identifying a number of Microsoft licenses that we were not utilizing, which saved the city over $40,000. And then Danny Rodriguez, our deputy city treasurer, was recognized with a $250 award for his diligent work for a 6-month period. He not only did his previous work in finance, but he also did the deputy city treasurer's work and did a great job in both. So great to have our employees recognized, especially during the holiday season. Unfortunately, the Jazz Cultural Committee, the Martin Luther King Cultural Committee left, but they were the first group to sign a formal MOU with the City Council, and we have defined both of our responsibilities. And I think not only is it provide some streamlined, really clear responsibilities, but we're able to now, I think, invest in the program more, and I think it's going to be a great partnership. We're going to use this MOU as a model for the Cinco de Mayo committee and then the Sister City Association. And now we all feel, I think, much more comfortable about everyone's getting a good partnership with the city, and we're very excited about the not want to say renewed partnership, but expanded partnership with the MLK Cultural Committee. So that's great. Just on the parks, we are early next year, we're going to be going out and doing our second inspection of our parks to now come up with a strategic plan to start to put out to bid all of the deferred maintenance that's our parks. We did a great award today, but that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. I estimate there's probably going to be over between $1.5 and $2 million invested in our city parks in the next year or so. So it means requires a lot of work by our staff to put those things out to bid, and I think it's really going to enhance not only the cleanliness, but the usefulness, and then just the overall aesthetics of our park. And we're going to look at also combining that with additional park programs. Nikki Sweeney and Stephanie Santino are looking at enhancing park programs, so which is great. The City of Hawthorne recently established a Hawthorne Airport Advisory Committee. That's not actually the name, it's a more technical name, I forgot what it was, but it does require the City of Gardena to appoint a member to that committee, because of the stadium and other increased traffic. Our citizens are being impacted by noise and et cetera. I will have a recommendation for the City Council. There is a member of our community that has been very active and actually brought this to our attention. I think was very prominent in getting this committee started. I did speak to the city manager of Hawthorne today about the committee, and he's excited to get a member from the City of Gardena in that. Also, the health fair is January 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the first time we've had a major health fair for our employees. We have, as I mentioned, mental health, financial health, and physical health. We have providers there. They're going to be providing screenings. We have advisors there and counselors there. We're going to be having raffles, giveaways, such as Fitbits and Apple Watches, all to promote, physical, mental, and financial wellness in of our employees. And last but least, certainly not least, we have not had a council meeting since the death of Toshio Hirai, and I think it's important that City Council recognize all of the support from not only our community, our surrounding cities, and our surrounding police departments and fire departments for their outpouring of support during this very difficult time to the city. That ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to go on to council remarks. We're going to begin tonight with Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I attended a few events. I'm just going to go through it very quick. I'm pretty sure everybody else has a lot of things to report. November the 20th, I attended the El Camino College workshop, and they asked me to be their guest and talk about the development going on in the city of Gardena. So about almost 60 to 70 students, they were at the event, and they asked me question, how is the city doing, how the city is developing as far as real estate and as far as commercial and businesses. So I attended that event. On November 27th, Winter Wonderland, lots of fun, great job to the Park and Recs, they put it together. November the 30th, I attended Toshio Hirai funeral service. It was a very sad day for everybody, but I just want to say thank you to Gardena Police Department, Chief, and all the officers, to the explorers. They did a tremendous job, and they worked tirelessly to put this service together. It was a great service. And thank you to all agencies that they came and supported us. And I was reading, I was looking at the cars. We've seen some officers all the way from north, San Francisco, Fresno, Sacramento, on and on, the list goes on. So thank you to all agencies. December the 1st, I attended a fundraising dinner for Toshi again at the roadside, and I would like to encourage everybody. I think at the police department there is some T-shirts still we are selling for the Toshi's fundraising, and I would encourage everybody if they can support and buy one. I think it's $25 a T-shirt. On December the 5th, I attended the 10th anniversary potluck party celebration at Nakaoka Center. It was a great event, a lot of food. December the 9th, I attended the Armenian American Museum Gala at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. 1,200 people were present. It was a great event. Congressman Schiff was there. Supervisor Catherine Barger, she surprised us with $1 million donation from the LA County supervisors, and the list goes on with the supporters. So the ground, $1 million donation. The groundbreaking is going to be September 2020, and anticipated to do the grand opening on 2022. It's going to be a great museum, state-of-the-art museum, they said, in the nation. December the 13th, the museum is going to be next to Americana in Glendale. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Americana, so it's going to be next to Americana. Prime location, prime real estate. December the 13th, I attended the GJEP Santa Claus visit, and thank you, Gardena Police Officer Association, and I would like to say thank you, Chief. You can relay my thanks to Officer Louis Villanueva. He's doing a great job, going and putting smiles on those kids with Santa. So thank you, Officer Villanueva. And lastly, I would like to say happy birthday to Nancy Ward. It's her birthday today, and I tried to call her. I couldn't get hold of her today. I think she was out for lunch, but happy birthday. If Stephanie can relay the message for me for tomorrow. And that's at my report.
You still have time, Councilman. It's Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. Oh, I thought it was today. Well, I'm early.
There you go.
You got that.
Okay.
Is that in your report?
That's my report, yes.
Okay, thank you. Next is Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So after our last Tuesday night council meeting, the next day, our motor officer was involved in a crash. So I spent actually most of my time for the next few days at the hospital with RPD. There were so many officers there, it was unbelievable. The South Bay is, I'd say, pretty close together. We came together as a great community. Unfortunately, Officer Harai passed away from his injuries, but you know, I was very proud. All the officers that came together, our city employees, the sworn and non-sworn, the staff at Harbor General went out of their way for us. And for those that were probably wondering why was Hawthorne or Culver City or Redondo or some other beach city patrolling our city, we thank you for coming and taking over our city while we took care of business for our fallen officer. It truly was a tribute. And then our department did a wonderful job on the funeral. And Tom, you should be proud. We did well. So keep Toshio's wife, Kristen, and son, Takeo, in prayer, especially his mom and dad, too, because that was pretty tough on them. But and Madam Mayor, your speech at the funeral was just spot on. It was really a great tribute. And then, let's see, we did a Roadhouse fundraiser. Great little bar and restaurant. They donated 100% of their proceeds from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. To the family, including the wages for the employees. Rizzo's Pizza donated 20% of their sales from one day. And then just recently, LASD Lomita Station, with the assistance of State City Brewing, donated proceeds to the family also. And if you kind of check your websites and the Facebook, there's some other ones coming up, and the proceeds are helping out to support Officer Harai's wife and son. I believe Takeo is 4. Or I'm sorry, 2, yeah. So continue to support and do what you can for his family. It was a great loss to us, so we just keep everybody in prayer. I attended the Saniku East-West Language School's golden anniversary, and it's funny because they started about when I was in junior high school, so I probably should have went there and I would have learned how to speak Japanese, so that would have been okay. I never went. The City Winter Wonderland, thank you for putting that tree lighting on. It was really great this year. There were some really neat things in the parking lot with jumpers and stuff like that. So thank you, Parks and Rec, Public Works. Attended the Elks Memorial for the that honors the loss of our members for the year. We lost 8, so we attended that. Attended the Peace Officers Association float the other night, and it's always great. Well, when Ed and I were young policemen, that float, all it was a trailer and I think a chair or something. There were no reindeers, but we always had a great time taking care of our community. But thank you, POA, because that float really does make a difference for a lot of kids in our community. And lastly, I apologize for a lot of the things that I haven't attended. You know, I missed the Tri-Cities potluck. I missed the Raleigh Park potluck. There's a lot of things that I apologize I've missed, but my mom is 92, and she's not faring very well right now, so I've been spending a lot of time with her. So if I missed an event, I apologize, and that ends my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Because the hour is long, I won't go forever. There were a lot of events that I attended. I think what the important events for me that stuck out, besides going to other board meetings and meetings we get invited to, was our community vigil for our fallen officer. I think that demonstrated to those that were watching us, as the world was watching us during that vigil time, how the strength of our community as we encompass and encircle and we grab one another in moments like that. And so it was, we had that one night, then the next night we had the vigil, or the tree lighting ceremony, so that felt pretty good. But then when we had the memorial, it kind of all came back, and for me, death is always a tough thing, but really, I want to ask the community to keep that family in prayer, because he left behind a wife and a 2-year-old son, and thinking about the void that he's going to have in his life because something's going to be missing and he won't be able to figure out what it is for some time until folks explain things to him and everything. So I just want to ask our community just to keep that family in prayer. As y'all know, I've been to every event that everybody else has been to, so I just want to end my report on that. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. And for myself, I'm going to go through this very quickly because I have a lot to report. Since the last council meeting, I attended the Bureau of Gambling Commission's workshop at the Hyatt Regency where myself, Councilmember Henderson, city manager, and several department heads spoke out to the Gambling Commission in support of making sure blackjack is kept safe here within our city. I also attended a Veteran of the Year ceremony that was put on by Assemblymember Almar Asuchi, where we recognized one of our own, Mr. Steve Moriyama. I also attended a few minutes of the Development Standards Committee forum that was held here at the in this room here that was put on by our city manager, and you did a great job. I've heard a lot of good feedback about that. So thank you for having that forum and informing our residents on how decisions are made here when it relates to new businesses. As you saw from the video, I also attended the Watabampo 45-year anniversary celebration. And I know I already thanked the translators who went with us, Mr. Crespo and Alejandro, but I just want to thank Stephanie Santini for putting that great video together. You did a great job, so I couldn't have done it as well as that. Also, I attended my normal monthly JPA meeting, and that's in regards to the casinos. I attended the Winter Wonderland here at the Nakaoka Center, as well as the funeral services for Officer Harai. And it was mentioned several times earlier, but I just, again, want to just echo my thanks to all of the agencies that helped us out during that time. And to the employees here in the city, I mean, this was a rough time for our city. And just thank you for every department did something in their own way. So I just want to thank every employee here within our city for your support, whether you donated money, just helped out in one way or another. There were so many different people that were just doing so many great things, just helping and supporting each other as we went through this time here. Also, I attended the fundraiser at the Roadhouse Bar and Grill, and you know, it was mentioned earlier about how the restaurant donated all the proceeds to the family, but I also was told that all the waitresses donated all their tips as well too. And I thought that was amazing. And I think it's important that when a restaurant or business does something that nice, that we should go back and support them as well. They're not in Gardena, but it's the Roadhouse Bar and Grill in Torrance on Artesia, 190th and Crenshaw. So I just think it'd be great if we could go in there and thank them, support them, spend some money there because they were there for us when we needed it. I also attended a second it was a recognition for the Harai family at JCI through their annual Christmas party where they honored him and his family. And it was a really nice event that JCI had. And also I attended Cherry Stones, their annual Christmas party that was held at the Elks Lodge. I also attended Sister City's Christmas party and the City of Gardena's annual Christmas tree trimming party here at City Hall lobby area. I attended the city selection meeting, Tri-City CERT, their 10-year anniversary Christmas party, also the Gardena Holly Park Homeowners Christmas party, the LA County Mayor's meeting that's put on by Mayor Garcetti. And at the next council meeting, I'll talk in more detail about what we discussed there, only because the hour is getting late here. Also, I attended Southwest Realtors installation meeting in the city of LA. I also attended SURF, toy giveaway for autistic kids. I also attended the Kashmir Gatekeepers Christmas party, the Gardena Valley Friends of the Library holiday party, Top Notch Awards Christmas party. And I also attended Oh My Burger, one of our restaurants here in the city of Gardena. They had a food burger challenge here, and I want to thank a couple of the staff members who came out. There's a young lady who goes around to restaurants all over, and She participated in a challenge where she had to eat a 10-pound burger in less than 45 minutes. And not only did she eat a 10-pound burger, but she had fries and a shake with it, and she did it in 22 minutes. So Channel 7 was there, so we got a little plug for the city of Gardena, a great restaurant. I also ate there. I didn't eat the 10-pound burger. I had a normal burger. But it's a great little restaurant right on El Segundo and Van Ness called Oh My Burger, and they have a lot of great gourmet burgers. So I definitely want to encourage people to go out and support our local restaurants here in the area. This will actually be shown on Channel 7 News sometime after the first of the year, so we're going to get a great plug from them. I also attended the retirement party of Gardena Boys and Girls Club director Mike Herrera. I also attended the GGIP Santa Claus visit that was held at GGIP. I also attended the Second Time Around Club's annual Christmas party at the Marriott. And on Monday night, I participated in the Santa Float that was held for all the council members. Earlier today, I participated in the City Hall Christmas potluck and also the G-Trans holiday potluck. As you can tell, I've been eating all day.
She's a party girl, huh?
Yeah. And I, too, would just like to say happy birthday to our Executive Secretary, Nancy Ward. She is not just a secretary, but she is just an all-around, just everything. She gets it done, and she's been doing it for so long. She's not just an employee, she's just a great friend, and I'm sure I'm not just saying this for myself, but the entire city council, but a happy birthday and many more to come. She's just an amazing person who works in our city, kind of just one of the backbones to our city. And lastly, I just like, this is our last council meeting for the year, so I just want to thank the entire council, all of our staff here, every employee, for just a great job that you guys have done in 2018. I said it earlier today, but I'll say it again. You know, it's not just this council that makes the city run, but it's everybody involved here. So from the council, city manager, our city attorney, all the way down to Parks and Rec, maintenance, you name it, G-Trans, everyone. Thank you guys for what you do, because this is a team effort, and it's just shown in just by the great things that people say about us here in Gardena. So thank you again, and that ends my report. So next is Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ever since our last council meeting, I had the opportunity to give out birthday cakes to different convalescent homes, which I do every month. And this year, I had a chance to deliver 2 gigantic full sheet cakes to the JCI for the Christmas party. And they really enjoyed it, and they thanked us for it. I also had a chance to attend the funeral service for Mr. Harai, and it was you could feel the environment there. It was very loving, very caring, and ironically enough, a few days later I attended the funeral service, or should I say the celebration for Moki Halcyon, who is the owner of, or was the owner of, the Island Flavor Cafe. For those of you who've never had a chance to go there, it's right off Crenshaw Boulevard, diagonally across the street from El Camino. And they have the greatest Hawaiian food, to my expectations anyway, because it's hard to find a good restaurant that's like home in Hawaii, because it takes a certain amount of feeling to cook that way. And Moki was one of those people who inspired the Hawaiian culture. He inspired the Hawaiian dances, and the celebration went on for almost 5 hours, right? 5 hours, and you just felt overwhelmed with learning more about the culture of Hawaii and learning more about Moki. And I also want to acknowledge his sister, who is sitting out in the audience, and we're going to close our city council meeting in his name. And I also want to publicly give a big thank you to our Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Tanaka, because we wouldn't have the military recognition had he not given a second to us voting into effect the military recognition. So I want to thank you personally for giving the second and making that dream a reality. And I also want to thank Mayor Serta for appointing me as one of the military recognitions, and I was lost for words, and that's pretty rare for me. But again, thank you, and I also had a chance to attend the COG meeting, which we're looking at some interesting situations that are going to come up for the city of Gardena, as far as awards are concerned. But I've got to keep it under my hat, so it'll be a surprise for all of you. And in closing, I'd like to thank everyone in the city of Gardena, staff, especially the department heads who have really reorganized our city staff to be more cohesive. And I want to thank Mr. Medrano for putting that together. And I'd like to wish everyone in the city of Gardena a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And for those of you who have problems out there, there's only one way to solve that, and that's to pray. And that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to announcements. I just have one announcement tonight. After the meeting is over, please join us as we have cake in the back, and that is in celebration of our city manager at Medrano's birthday. So at the end of the meeting, please join us.
Mayor, may I have one other announcement if I could?
Sure, go ahead.
On January 18th, our city clerk, Mina Semenza, will be appointed the president of the South Bay Association of Realtors, which is an honor. So city council will be offered an invitation to attend. The city is sponsoring a table there, so congratulations, Mina.
Okay.
Thank you for your support.
Okay, congratulations. So I'm going to take an item here that's, take it out of order here. We are going to have to adjourn into closed session, but before we do that, I would like to go ahead and read the remembrances here because we do still have some people who are in the audience here whose names, family members of names, we'll be calling off here. So tonight we're going to adjourn in memory of the Honorable George Herbert Walker Bush, who was 94 years old and the 41st President of the United States of America from 1989 to 1993. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Police Specialist Toshio Harai, who is 34 years of age and a 12-year veteran of the City of Gardena Police Department. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Mr. Alva Lyle Ward, who was 81 years old and the beloved brother-in-law of Executive Office Assistant Nancy Ward in the elected and administrative offices. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Mr. Lynn Moki Helacion, who was 47 years of age, and he was born in Amamuki, Hawaii, and was the owner of the Island Flavor Cafe on Crenshaw Boulevard, and he was also a friend of Councilmember Dan Medina. My understanding is his sister is also present here in the audience here, and just so you know, there will be a certificate that will be forthcoming in recognition of us adjourning our meeting in his memory today. Also, we're going to be adjourning in memory of Mr. Richard Moore, who was 98 years old, and the beloved father of City of Gardena Building Inspector John Moore. He was also a resident of and builder throughout Gardena for over 50 years, a member of the City of Gardena Planning Commission in the 1970s, and an active member of the St. Anthony of Padua Parish. So at this time, we need to go into closed session for a few minutes, and after that, we will come back out and officially adjourn the meeting. So we're going to adjourn into closed session. Okay, we are returning from closed session for December 18, 2018. Madam City Clerk, will you call roll again, please?
Madam Mayor, all council members are present.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything to report from closed session?
No, no reportable action was taken.
Okay, thank you. So, at this time, we are going to adjourn the Gardena City Council meeting to our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 8, 2019. And the December 25th, 2018 meeting will be canceled. Okay, we are adjourned. Please join us in the back for cake in honor of our city manager's birthday, and happy holidays.